Hello, good afternoon, friends. Let's get started. So this is the butterfly kit, and this is the butterfly that we're making. It's over here to the side. I'm going to put that to the side though. So when you get your kit, it'll have an instruction sheet in there that should have everything that's in your packing list on here, and then instructions on the back. Okay, so you'll have cups, you'll have our beloved art resin, a packet of paints, some glass, a hanger with your little screw and your wire for your antenna, and then all your colored glass, gloves, a little chip brush, and your reclaimed wood, and a template. So all of this comes in that box. We're gonna start out by painting our board white. We're gonna use these cups as little legs to prop this up so that when we pour resin, the resin can drip down. But for right now, I'm going to use these little cups as paint holders. So these are just like little ketchup packets. You can snip the corner here, squeeze all the paint out of that corner, snip the corner. You'll have way more than enough paint. This board is going to have a front and a back, but you just pick whichever side you like. Some people like the side with more texture, and they like the side where the nails show through. Some people like the smoother side. Both of these are kind of rough, but usually you'll have one side that's smooth and one side that's rougher. So I'm just going to pick this side. This is the back side of those nails, and I'm just going to give this a rough coat. And I refer to it as a rough coat because I'm not covering every bit of that wood. I like for the wood to show through a little bit. I like that look with the glass. That's just one of my favorite things about this kind of art is that, the rough texture of the wood with the sparkle of the glass. Those two things together is what really evokes emotion, I think. I just think that's beautiful, those textures together. So I'm going to paint the sides of this. Ideally, you'd probably let this dry for a little while. I'm not going to worry too much about that because we're on video. In real life, you might want to pause the video and let it dry for just a few minutes. I'm going to squirt out my blue paint into another cup. I didn't rinse out my brush or anything. Of course, if you're going to wait hours before you do the next part, you might want to rinse it out. And then I'm going to find a place to lay my butterfly that I like. Now you could do something really fun and funky and put your butterfly like off here to the side. That would be really cool. You have all kinds of freedom with this though. This is just the basic to get you started. Okay, so I'm laying my template down, and this template's kind of a cardstock. So I'm going to dip in this blue paint, and I'm going to brush away and make a pattern with this. So my background's going to be a little bit blue, not a ton. And you're probably saying, well, why did you paint it white? Because underneath here is where the glass is going to go, and we want that part to be white so that the color of the glass really shows through. If we put the glass on the brown wood, it's just not as pretty and sparkly. It can be, but not for a butterfly. Not for this light pastel colored butterfly. This is a real springy butterfly here. This is a fun thing for the kids to do too. So now you know what's going to happen when I pull this up. We have a butterfly underneath. Okay, set the template aside. So I have a couple of things I need to do. I know that I'm going to need this body, and I know I'm going to need this, these marbles here, these flat marbles. And butterflies are symmetric. So I'm going to divide this up so that I know on each side I'll have two of those, or one of those on each side, two of the white ones, and two of these clearish blue ones. Everybody's kit is different because I try to use reclaimed wood and reclaimed glass. This is all reclaimed wood, but I try to use found glass that would otherwise be destined for a landfill. So that's where these came from. So everybody's are different, but they're all kind of keeping in the same color family. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is create my butterfly pattern. So I have this much blue glass, and I'm going to do blue glass around the edge like our sample. So I'm going to start out by kind of putting half and half on each side. And you can just use your fingers. This glass is not very sharp. It can cut you if you're not careful. But for the most part, it's kind of soft glass. It's tempered glass, and it's not sharp. Now, you do want to make sure that your paint is dry when you're doing this. Do as I say, not as I do. So you'll have a little more time in between, right? So I'm just kind of making an outline with this. Make an outline around the butterfly. Okay, now what you could do, I'm going to rinse this brush out. This is one of my friend's favorite techniques. She doesn't think she's artistic. She thinks she invented this. I just washed out this brush, okay? She calls this the dump and sweep. So you can use this like a little broom. I would get the paint off of it first and dry it off real good, but you can use this like a little broom. And this is so fun, especially for little ones, but it kind of reminds me of a Zen garden. You know, those little tabletop Zen gardens where you can just move sand back and forth, and it's kind of relaxing. So I'm getting my outline, kind of figure it out and playing around with it. Remember, I'm looking for symmetry here, and I'm staying in my white areas as much as I can. And it's okay if it doesn't line up exactly. That doesn't hurt anything. I'm going to leave a space here in the middle for my body of the butterfly, a little bit of a space. Let's go to the next color. I think I'm going to do clear next. I'm just going to dump it here. This is why she calls it the dump and sweep. She's going to laugh her head off when she sees this video that I used her on here. I love this glass. I use it all the time in my projects. I keep bags and bags of it on hand at all times. I'll do the next one. I'll do this with pink. Now, this is a great time to incorporate something special that you might have laying around the house that you don't use anymore. I would think like this kind of thing would be like an old pair of earrings or a charm from a bracelet or something that you don't wear anymore. Wouldn't that be pretty to incorporate into this? If you had a pair of pearl earrings that you didn't wear anymore, not real pearls, of course, but just something kind of costume, something decorative. You could go look for something ahead of time if you wanted to really personalize this. I think that's all the pink that I need, so I have some left over, and that's okay. Let's see where we want to place these. I'm going to do this one like my sample so that for people watching that want to make it along, they can do it just like my sample. Like I said, butterflies are symmetric, so do that. Oh, I love this color blue. Now, some of these, because these are all hand cut by me, they're going to have a rough edge sometimes. So flip it over, turn it around, figure out exactly where you want it. This one I had to flip over. That's just fine. That is like my favorite color blue. And the rounded part's going to go at the top. Okay, so now we have our antenna. I'm going to fold this in half. Pinch it, and then I'm going to wrap it around something. Let me get a pencil. Wrap it around a pencil. You could also do this just with your hands. Make that curve. I like this wire because it's heavy, but it doesn't want to bend real easily. But that's kind of good because then it'll stay in shape, right? We're going to make these antennae. I just love butterflies. How crazy is it that we get to experience that? They're basically a worm before they turn into a butterfly. So cool. All right. Get that down in there. What do y'all think? Oh, I love it. I am going to move some of this stuff out of the way and we can pour resin on it. So, you know how I had paint in these cups, you could wipe that out if you wanted to. Or if you're working on plastic, which you should be working on plastic, like a trash bag or something. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn these upside down like that. It's not gonna hurt anything because you've got your plastic here, okay? And I'm gonna set that up on the cup so it's like a little table. I guess I wanna make sure that that paint is dry. Okay, so your resin packet's gonna be like this. You're going to cut the top of it off like that, okay? Don't cut through the resin packet. This has all the safety information. If you want to read about it, you can do this indoors. You don't have to do it outside. I use only art resin because it has no VOCs. It has the highest UV rating on the market. I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on. Make sure if you do this, that you do this in an area that it's not going to be disturbed for about 12 to 18 hours because it's going to be really sticky for that long. And if you have something with dog hair or pet hair, human hair, dust, bugs, gnats, whatever it may be, you do not want to have anything land in it or fall in it because it'll be stuck there forever. Okay, I'm going to put this hanger aside. I just want you to know that on the back, all you have to do when you pull your piece up is set down your hanger and use a screwdriver. It helps if it's an electric screwdriver. And screw that in, okay? And that's what you'll do when it's all finished and dried. So I'm going to take my resin and slide this clip off, this pink clip, okay? This, and you can throw that part away. All right, so it's 2 parts, and you have part A and part B, and we're just gonna mix them together. Mix them together like this for 3 minutes. If you don't, it will remain sticky and it will never ever cure. This is a good job for the kids to do, but mom or dad or aunt or uncle or whoever, make sure that you come in behind them and make sure they have really been working this packet for that long. And when we go to cut this, we're just gonna snip this corner up here and we're gonna drizzle. Okay, we're gonna start with the glass first. I'm not gonna start drizzling out here to the side on the wood because the glass is the most important part to cover, and it will drain down and hit the wood, and then it's gonna drain down and land on your plastic tarp underneath. You want to pour over the glass part first, and then it'll fill in all that other area. Squeeze some out of that corner there. Again, this is just like our ketchup packets or our paint packets. And not cut a very big corner because we need this whole packet to cover this whole piece, okay? I'm gonna start with the glass part. I know I need to cover that body there. And your resin will be warm enough after you've been massaging it and kneading it for that long. It'll be warm enough that it'll just drizzle down. But if you've kept it in a really cold environment, make sure you let it come to room temperature first. Okay, and I'm just drizzling over all of the glass first because it seeks the path of least resistance, so it's going to drain down between there. It's kind of like corn syrup, if you could imagine pouring corn syrup on this. And it'll drain down and hit that wood and spread out. This is what makes it so sparkly. Just remember, you have to be sure it is completely dry before you do this part. You don't want glue, you don't want any kind of wet paint, anything like that. Speaking of glue, if you're doing beads or something on here and you're having trouble with things staying where you want them to stay, you could just use a little bit of clear school glue. That works great to hold pieces in place until you can get them resined. I think we're good to go. I'm going to take my finger with my glove on it and kind of go around these sides and make sure these sides have some resin on them. You don't have to do that, but it will drip down on this side, and sometimes it looks just a little bit neater if you can clean up your sides like this. There we go, all set. All right, thank you all so much. Have a great day. Bye.